Guys, the examples I'm going to give you will be from a woman's point of view, but trust me, I think they're very understandable for both guys and women. All right, let's talk about things we've all seen, but wish we hadn't. Red flags, those little warning signs that show up in dating and making you wonder if it's just me, or is this person a fire risk? It's probably not you. It's probably the guy who just can't stop. Whether it's someone who texts their ex during dinner, or someone who doesn't think limits are important, these red. When you have flags, they're not just weird personality traits. They're bright signs that say, abort. The best part is that we'll laugh about it, learn from it, and maybe feel free to cry a little. Let's face it, we've all ignored at least one. Grab a cup of coffee, a glass of wine, or some popcorn, and let's talk about dating red flags. You should definitely pay attention because things are about to get real honest and maybe just a little hot. But trust me, I have things you won't believe. They spend too much time on social media. Let's talk about they spend too much time on social media. You know the type of social media addict who spends more time on Instagram than anything else. More about looks than the actual date, so they spent 15 minutes setting up their avocado toast for the perfect shot, while you're wondering if you're also part of the look or just a hand model who doesn't get paid to hold their coffee. A cup for the honest. I went on a date with a guy named Jake. The restaurant ambiance filmed the food because, of course, they kept pausing in the middle of conversations to record everything. Filmed me without being asked. By the end of the night, I wasn't sure if I'd been on a date or put together an episode of his TikTok vlog series by chance. Don't get me wrong, I love social media, but I didn't sign a release form. There is a difference between telling someone about your life and telling them about your life, for if your partner is always more interested in arranging someone else's likes, it's a red flag if they'd rather connect with you on their feed than with you. Those pairs who fight but post couple goals pics as if we're not there. Not everyone knows the tea, and this is where it gets serious. Social media addiction isn't not about looks, it's about values. Are they with you, or are they online to get approval from people if their phone gets more eye contact, that they value your time together more than you do? Being seen, not just on Instagram, is at the heart of a good partnership. In real life, though, you deserve someone who is interested in you, not with, remember that love isn't about how many likes their beach selfie has. Not in terms of fans and screens, but in terms of relationship, respect, and being able to eat your food before it goes bad, because someone wanted to record 12 videos of it. If the person you're meeting is crazy about social media, you should ask yourself, are they building a relationship with you or just a brand? Happiness doesn't need a moment of attention from two people they don't respect. They don't follow the rules. Boundaries, people, buckle up, because this one is going to break everything. People who don't respect boundaries, and I'm not just talking about rude things like walking in your personal space. Even though that's bad enough, I'm talking about how people push you in sneaky ways. It will push you past your limits and make you wonder if you're being too sensitive. Spoiler alert, you're not. Let me paint you a picture of, imagine that I used to date someone who thought that rules were cute ideas. Let's call him Steve. Really, doesn't every limit pusher feel like Steve? Steve was one of them. It was cute, funny, and very responsive at first, but quickly things went awry. It started out small. He sent me good morning texts all the time, check-ins over lunch, jokes in the middle of the afternoon, and full-on rants at night if I didn't. As soon as I replied, he'd ask, "Are you mad at me or worse? I just care. Worry about you so much that I get scared." At first I thought, wow, someone who actually controls the texts, but that's not what he really cared about. Imagine coming home from a long day and being ready to fall on the couch. I'm sitting on the couch when all of a sudden Steve comes in with food like he's a hero. But it wasn't romantic. It was smothering. I'd say, "Hey, I love seeing you, but please let me know ahead of time next time. He'd laugh it off, but I wanted to not so much to surprise you, but to sure surprise you didn't stop there. I caught him looking through my phone one time. When asked what he was doing, he said, "I wasn't spying, I just wanted to see that your pictures of you are so pretty and cute, but there's still a big invasion of..." Then it hit me. This wasn't love, it was privilege. He didn't deserve it. He wanted to control every part of my life and get close to me. Being clear about your limits in a relationship is seen as selfish by society a lot of the time. You may have heard that when you're in love, you don't need rules. That's not true. Love without limits is not love, it's chaos. The real truth is that someone who doesn't respect your limits doesn't really care about you. If someone doesn't respect you, they're making it clear that their needs and wants are more important than yours. I love you so much, or I didn't think it was a big deal, so I'm making you feel bad about it. They want you to blame you for their bad behavior. Let's take a step back for a moment. Boundaries aren't just about, they help you figure out what's important to you and help you say no. Letting people know, this is who I am and this is what I need to feel safe. If someone cares about you, they will listen and respect your limits because they want you to feel safe. You feel safe in the relationship, but someone who doesn't respect your limits will push you today for hours on end. Tomorrow it will show up without warning, and next week it will read your texts. That's not a dangerous slide. It's telling you what you can and can't do. I'm going to get a little personal here. Finding limit push points isn't the hardest part about them. They're good at making you feel like you're the problem, so when you leave them, you start to think, maybe I might be being unfair or exaggerating, but you're not. Your limits are right, and you don't have to explain them to anyone. Here's the deep message. Set limits that can't be broken. Borders aren't meant to keep people out. They're about building a place where respect for each other can grow. Isn't what makes a relationship healthy. One person stepping on the other. It's based on two people respecting each other. Value each other's wants. So if you're with someone who doesn't follow your rules, as a gift, they showed you who they are before you believed them too deeply. For me, being alone and happy is better than being with someone who thinks you're not good enough. You should have a partner who knocks on the door and waits for you to answer it, not someone who kicks it down because they don't like you. I believe they belong there, trust me. 1, 2, 3. They're too jealous. It's that little green monster. They're jealous for no reason. We all act like isn't cute, but deep down I sometimes feel like they care about me. There's a small line between I don't want to lose you and who's that? Being close to you and living, and when jealousy gets out of hand, when someone stops being nice and starts being flat out harmful. I'll tell you a story. Dated a guy named Ryan who was really nice at first, but then he'd say like, "I'm so lucky to have you," or "If someone else tried, I don't know what I'd do." To take you away, I thought, wow, this guy really cares about me. But it didn't last long. Before those cute little words turn into something more sinister, I told Ryan that I ran into an old friend at the grocery store and had a quick 5-second chat with them. Stone cold asks her, "Why are you still talking to other guys? Do you miss me?" Him or something, and I laughed it off, thinking that he had to be kidding. Warn he wasn't, and things got worse when he started looking at my social media and asking who. When guys commented on my picture, they all asked, "Who is that? Why is he liking it? Why is he..." If I commented on your post, I'd say, "That's my cousin," and he'd say, "That's right. Hey bro, it's Thanksgiving dinner and we're all together as a family. Let's talk about that big bad feeling called jealousy that we all have from time to time. Though both can be unhealthy, there's a big difference between being jealous and acting jealous. One thing that makes you want to see your direct messages is a little ping of nervousness. questioning you about the man at Starbucks. That's not okay. And here's why, the debatable part. Jealousy is often seen as emotion in society, and we've all been there. Indeed, if they're not angry at you, do they really love you? I'm sorry, but no. Jealousy isn't love. It's just fear dressed up in a bad way. Always doubts your commitment. It's not that they love you too much. It's that they don't love you enough. More deeply, unwarranted anger isn't about you. It's about power. It's about they don't fear losing you because they care about the relationship, but because they fear what losing you will say about them. It's not your job to carry your partner's fears around with you. Theirs to work through, not yours to sneak around in. Now for the really exciting part. When jealousy isn't dealt with, it often gets worse. At first it's, who is that guy? When I text you, it means I don't like seeing your friends, and it builds up to, I don't want you going out without me. It's a slow creep from, you go from being suspicious to being alone, and before you know it, you've given up your freedom. To make them feel better about their worries, let me be clear. Good relationships trust each other, which means letting your partner live in the world without you. Having to watch what they do all the time. If someone really cares about you, they'll let you know. Trust me, they won't make every contact with them feel like a possible betrayal. Here's the deep lesson of love. Without trust, fear looks like something else, and you can't build a friendship on fear. It will always see our humble if someone is too jealous. It's not your job to deal with that, to make them feel better at the cost of your own peace of mind. You deserve a person who lifts you up, not someone whose fears bring you down. So if you're with someone who's too jealous, let me tell you that jealousy isn't a good thing. Proof of love is a red flag, and the moment you start making their actions okay, whenever someone acts like, oh, they care about me so much, you should ask yourself, what will it cost me to trust you? The right person won't just trust you, they will praise you, and when someone loves you that much, envy doesn't stand a chance. Chance 4. They always say bad things about their ex-partners. All right, let's get started. They say bad things about their ex. Oddly, people don't seem to notice this when they can't stop trash talking their ex-partners. And when I say, it didn't work out because we weren't compatible, I don't mean once in a while. Full-on 5-act play where their ex is always the bad guy. Let me set the scene. I went on a date with a guy named Todd in the first 20 minutes of the scene. In just a few minutes, he brought up his ex-girlfriend 7 times, and not just once or twice. Todd said hurtful things like, she was so controlling and she ruined I think she was already a snob by the time he called her the devil in heels. My pastor asked me halfway through if I was on a date or try out to be his therapy, and here's something you might feel at first. I was pleased and thought, wow, they must really like me more than their ex. Really though, someone who spends that much time slagging off someone they used to love isn't over them. They're probably still hurting from that old relationship, and now you have to listen to the TED Talk. Talk about their breakup pain. Let's make things more interesting, shall we? Society has taught us that putting down ex-partners is okay and even helpful. In movies and pop culture, people often get together because they both hate their ex-partners. But let me tell you something. It's not cute when someone can't take responsibility for their part in a breakup if all of their ex-spouses were crazy, so maybe the thing they have in common isn't the exes. Now comes the controversial part. Someone who talks badly about their ex-partners all the time isn't just venting. They're, if they always put the blame on the other person, show you how they deal with relationships and fights. What will happen if things go bad between you and Rocky? Are you going to be the bad guy in their next sad love story? I'm not saying all ex-partners are good, because we've all been in bad situations. To get over a breakup, you may need to talk to a friend, but there's a difference between that and someone who has moved on doesn't need to be constantly put down. To say bad things about their ex because they've moved on from the past and learned from it. I'm going to tell you a secret. I once ignored this red flag because I thought, he's just hurt. He'll stop when he gets better. He didn't, and over time I saw that his problem wasn't just with his ex. It was with his ex-girlfriend wasn't crazy. Anyone who didn't give in to all of his wants was most likely already done, and guess who he started to complain about when things didn't go his way? If someone can't talk about their past, the way they talk about them says a lot about how emotionally mature they are. Some people talk about their old relationships with respect or without bias, proof that they haven't healed yet, and remember that they aren't ready to date until they have. There are many reasons why relationships end, but healthy people own up to their part, they say. Don't just point out what they did wrong or what they learned. If they're pulling their ex's name through the mud, it shows they don't care about you. Being self-aware, and let's be honest, that will show in how they treat you. So if you're with someone who can't stop trashing their exes, take it as a sign to pump the brakes, because here's the tea, someday you'll be their ex too. And when that being said, do you really want to be the subject of their next rant? Not someone who is still stuck, but has healed, owns their past, and wants to build a future with you. Listening to their saddest songs again, trust me, your peace of mind is worth a lot more than that. Someone's never-ending antics plan 5. They're always broke, but not really broke. The always broke. They're always broke, but not really broke. There are people in the world who are always up for having fun. We've all met them, and maybe even dated them. Find a way to not have any money for bills or other obligations, but have plenty of cash to go to all the happy places. Our weekend trip, or a last-minute dinner out. Sounds good, right? Let me tell you, my ex-boyfriend, let's call him Kyle, used to do this really cute thing where he was too poor to pay for anything, but every Friday night he'd ask to join him for dinner at this taco place that charges too much. Oh, I don't get it. I'm paid until next week, but let's check out that new place you wanted to see. He was always on time when it came to buying necessities or paying rent. Short, but when it came time to get an extra $20 to join a bar crawl, well, in an instant, Kyle was a money wizard, taking out cash like it was nothing. At first I thought, okay, maybe he's just having a bad day. I watched him barely get by for a week after week after week. Important things, but his life was full of music, lunches, and taking last-minute weekend trips was a standard case of I'm broke, but not that broke. Here's the questionable truth. If someone is always broke but still, it's a red flag. If they can still spend money on things that aren't necessary. It's not how much money someone has. It's how they spend their money that shows how much they value life. Right now, it shows a greater problem than just making sure they can pay their bills or plan their future. It seems like they're willing to spend money on short-term highs, but not on long-term security. Let's go for an even dive. More importantly, are they broke because they're careless, or because there are a lot of times when people put you in the situation of picking up their slack. Sometimes people will play the broke persona on purpose to see how much they can handle. If their partner is ready to help financially and mentally, it's not just about money. They want to live a fun life. Enjoy a carefree life without having to worry about money things. They'll say, I just don't know where my paycheck goes, as if making drinks for their friends isn't the problem. I was too nice, I'll admit it. I tried to explain Kyle's actions for months by saying things like, he's just having a rough time, or that he'll soon get his act together. But the truth is, I felt bad when I learned I had to pay for more than just dinner when we went. I would pay for food, and sometimes even other things on trips. His share of the hotel room, I ended up taking care of someone who was always too poor to help out. Here's the deep lesson about being with someone isn't about taking care of each other financially. A good relationship is a team, and that means both people work together. That means both people have to make a mental and physical contribution as well. If you have to pay for their fun all the time without seeing them put the things they need first, it's time to ask yourself, are you in a friendship or a business deal? Now, I know some people will say this, but love is more than money. Yes, it is, but being careless with money can affect everything of your life. When someone can't handle their money, it's not a one-time thing. If they're not taking care of a problem, it shows how they feel about duty in general. Are they going to take care of you when it counts? Spoiler alert. Most likely not, and here's the catch. You don't want to be the one who's, if you always help someone else out, you might think you're helping them get by. But you're not teaching them anything because you let them keep making bad decisions without any consequences. How to handle their own money or take responsibility for what they do. When you're with someone who is broke but always up for an adventure, ask yourself, is this fun? I'm paying for their way of life because honestly, nothing else will kill them. I promise you that nothing will end a relationship faster than learning that you're mentally and financially supporting someone else. They shouldn't expect you to pay for everything while they figure it out. You deserve someone who shares the load with you. Being responsible and having a stable income are both hot, so take a hard look at your finances. Check out how much your partner spends and see if they're really as broke as they say they are. It's time to hit them with the facts. Want to build a future with you, or just want to get away for free? They keep a lot of things from you. They have a million secrets. Oh, the old, I've got a million secrets. If someone tells you this if someone tells you, run away from them and don't look back. I'm keeping some things from you and won't tell you until I have to. Now let me tell you something. It's not cute for a couple to keep secrets. It's a big red flag. I know because I dated someone with a secret. Let's call him Jack. Every time I asked him a question, he was always vague. About his past, his plans for the weekend, or even where he was the night before. Answer was something like, I'll tell you later, or it's difficult. And I would smile every time and think, he's so interesting. But here's the thing. Things they don't want to talk about are being used to hide things, which isn't a secret. They don't want you to know the truth, so Jack kept a lot of things from you, was going through that he couldn't talk about yet. There were so many that I began to think I was dating a spy. With a lot of foreign cases to handle, he told me one day that he'd been in and out of rehab, but wouldn't say more because it hurt too much to talk about. Respect did that, but he also couldn't remember what happened to his last 3 jobs, and his ex-girlfriend was always described as a crazy, dangerous person. But wait, didn't you say you broke up with them because you wanted to focus on yourself? Something didn't add up. So, here's the disputed truth. If someone has a million lies in the early stages of your relationship, they're not mysterious or hard to understand because they want to hide something. They want you to be interested enough in what's going on that you won't ask the hard questions. At first, you might say that it was okay because everyone has their own problems. Yes, but someone who wants to build a good friendship won't treat you like a detective putting together pieces of their life that they'll share freely. And since they trust you, be honest. And let's talk about the most dangerous secret of all, the secret they're keeping from themselves, about a person who is always. People who hide things, even small ones, usually haven't thought through their own lives, and if they haven't dealt with their problems from the past or learned how to be honest with each other. If they're too busy taking care of their own home, how can they really be there for you? How can they build a strong base? Of cards face up, here's a deep moment for you. We all have a story. We all do things we're not proud of, but being honest is the only way to move forward in a relationship. Putting a mask over a broken mirror hides the flaws, but it doesn't make them look better. As time goes on, those cracks will show through when the mask falls off. Bigger than you thought. I know this from personal experience. Jack's secrets began to the little lies built up into bigger ones in ways that didn't make sense. And all of a sudden I wasn't dating a mystery guy. I was dating someone whose whole relationship was based on lies. It felt like I was building a house on sand because I kept finding more problems. The relationship felt like a house of cards as more pieces were missing. And you know what? That's stressful, it's tiring, and it's not going to lead to, here's a good message. Don't mistake silence for intrigue. That person isn't deep, they're just hiding something they're ashamed of, afraid of, or don't want to talk about. You don't have to wait for them to open up before you talk to them. Being honest, open and trusting are important for a good partnership. If a person can't tell you about the most important things in their life, how can you expect them to share their heart? Relationships are hard enough without having to try to figure out someone else's life all the time. They're probably telling you that living that way is bad for you and not worth your time or energy. You deserve someone better, who feels safe being themselves around you and can tell you the truth, no matter how messy it is. You don't need a partner who keeps their past hidden and only lets you in when they want to. What you have there is not a friendship, it's a power battle. So the next time before you agree to date someone who says they have a million secrets, think about what you're really signing up for. Putting on a therapist mask, know that this is someone who can't be someone who isn't honest with you from the start, is probably not ready for a real, healthy relationship. Follow your gut and keep looking for someone who brings you into their world instead of keeping you away. Being honest, you should know who they are without all the ending. Okay, folks, that's all for our list of red flags in dating that you should really pay attention to. Relationships are great, but they shouldn't feel like a job, a mystery book, or a way to get out of debt. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. Set limits. And remember that you deserve a partner who treats you with respect. People who are honest and don't love people who keep you thinking or they are picking up the slack. So the next time you miss a red flag, don't forget that you deserve more than what you're getting. There are a lot of people out there who will love you, value your time, and never make you feel like you're walking on eggshells. Don't forget to hit the like button and follow if you liked the movie. Please share this with friends who need a relationship reality check. Also, let me know what you think in the comments. What was the biggest red flag you saw in a date? I want to hear your stories because let's be honest, we've all been there. So, until next time, remember to love yourself and set limits. Stay single and date like the badass you are. See you at the next one.